Well, spooky time is here once again, and in honor of Halloween, oh god, look at R.L. Stein's face. What the hell is that thing on his forehead? Oh, anyways, we're gonna talk about The Haunted Mask, an absolutely iconic episode in the Goosebumps series, and absolutely on point for Halloween spookiness, even scarier than that mole on R.L. Stein's head. Now, Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark are pretty decent shows, with average spooks and scares of the childhood delight. But in case you know, the absolute viral hit episode called The Haunted Mask is actually kind of an interesting watch and very, very disturbing. I would direct your attention to watch it immediately, as the whole episode just has an otherworldly and very off-putting feeling towards it. The show stars Carly Beth, a girl who is picked on and bullied and essentially scared of everything, and her kind of Halloween expose into finally getting the revenge on the people that she got picked on and was harassed by. And under the guise of a children's TV series, The Haunted Mask actually takes on a very disturbing viewing experience with all kinds of hidden details scattered amongst the episode that really leave an awful and sour taste in your mouth. For example, when Carly Beth goes into the mask store, she pushes off some dust and puts her head up like she's become a mask. One of the many hidden details in this episode there is deeply unsettling. Another unsettling aspect is the mask store proprietor himself. You would expect in a children's TV show that he would be a nice gentleman, nice towards kids, but he's not. He's a very vile old man who quickly loses his temper, is very angry and aggressive towards Carly Beth, and the whole thing just doesn't sit right with you. Another scene from the show that's deeply off-putting is when all the kids make fun of her and laugh at her by putting a worm in her sandwich, and she's just mortified, and it's just a very nasty thing for kids to do to her. They all laugh and scream at her. She runs away crying. It's just a scene that feels so out of place in a children's TV show and is just kind of foul in the way you think about it. I mean, Jesus, these kids are just fucking mean to this girl for no reason. The scene of her ripping up and crying with her costume is just deeply off putting and is kind of tragic in many regards. So it's kind of surprising they actually bothered to put this in the children's TV show. And oh god, what in the hell is in that picture? Let's rewind that for a sec. As you can tell, the picture on the wall of Carly Beth's room has a very weird picture of a toddler in some kind of strange costume or something. And there's just so many scenes in this TV episode that just really like have these hidden details that are off and weird. The whole environment just feels very ominous and strange. Now, the shit really starts to hit the fan when she actually goes and starts putting on the mask itself. Everybody all around her, including the audience, can just be deeply thrown off by the fact that the mask is very horrifying looking. In fact, all the masks look horrifying, but this mask in particular looks very evil. And she goes and actually puts the mask on. Now, at first, it does look, admittedly, like just a mask they put on. But throughout the episode, as the mask kind of becomes more of Carly Beth, it starts to take on an appearance that actually kind of looks like it's the face of a demon, not actually just a mask. And that in itself is extremely fucking horrifying. But to actually get even worse, it actually gets even worse. You see, you have this Carly Beth, who is this scaredy cat type of girl who's just so afraid of everything. But when she has the mask on, she's aggressive, she's mean spirited, she wants revenge, she laughs at people who she frightens. It's a really weird, off putting homage to mental illness, as if it weren't for the supernatural spookiness that is going on, you would assume that this girl was having a mental health crisis. And of course, she goes for the revenge of some bullies that have been, uh, annoying her. And, she really scares the piss out of them. And the mask at this point is actually taken on an actual face of the demon itself and no longer starts to look like a mask. And it looks very much like just an absolute creature. And let's talk about the fucking little face of hers that she carries around with that red garment that looks like blood. It's all very 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 disturbing and just strangely out of place in a children's TV show. It's a short-lived episode at only 40 minutes, but an essential Halloween watch as it's just overall kind of creepy, the whole concept. And, this girl being trapped in the mask, her being frightened, her scaring other people's, it just speaks to some type of demonic possession that, very surprising they actually got this into a TV series for kids. And I probably watched this and had fucking nightmares of it. And many kids had nightmares of this growing up. And the effects of the mask are just awesome because over time it starts to look more and more like an actual face and less like just a costume mask that she put on. The mask store itself is simply fantastic with it having this weird, creepy, ominous vibe that I'm sure everybody has had at one point in like you could walk into like a weird kind of obscure store. And I must say that just over all the masks you see, they're all so fantastic and really leave a chill down your spine. Some of the masks you see just kind of in the background lead to the atmosphere of amazingness. But of course, it's the masks themselves that are deeply horrifying, with all of them taking on an awkward and strange appearance. And they're just overall very creepy. I mean, these would be creepy masks on people, let alone if they didn't have supernatural powers. The weirdness simply gets worse as near the end of the episode when Carly Beth is screaming, crying, begging that he take the mask off of her, that all of a sudden the other masks kind of start to come to life, so to speak. And you would think that such effects of very early CGI masks coming to life would be corny and stupid looking, but oh my god, is it ever horrifying. This scene alone is horrific because you would think they'd be corny and stupid looking, and yes, the CGI doesn't look the greatest, but man, is there ever creepy thought of those masks just slowly hoovering towards her and what would happen if they actually catch her. And everybody, it actually goes deeply into psychological territory because many people have experienced in dreams just like a face or a presence floating towards them slowly as they can't get away. So it really plays deeply into your psychological horror that this type of, thing affects us in our dreams. And here it is, kind of just the feeling personified of this force slowly coming towards you to catch you or do whatever with you. So I would call Haunted Mask kind of an essential Halloween viewing. I mean, it's very spooky Halloweeny feel, but there's something evil about this episode. There's something it speaks to many people. I mean, there's so many videos all over the internet of people remarking on just this episode's off-putting and bizarre nature. They really stands out in a crowd of other words, a pretty decent show, The Goosebumps. I mean, there's plenty of great episodes, but there is one that just champions them all, and it's the absolute horrible, haunting effect of the haunted mask. It's just, it is just a wacky, weird episode. And how legendary is that scene when they show up to do some trick or treating, and Carly Beth or the demon just kind of takes over and is really nasty to those kids. I mean, look at that face. It just scares the shit out of the kids. And then she's, it's just a great scene. She's like, the parent is just freaking out because she knows something is wrong, and everybody just gets a bad feeling about the mask. And that's pretty awesome, actually. It's pretty it's a story that is deeply unsettling, and they struck gold with this episode because people are still talking about it. What, 25 years later? And I mean, it is deeply satisfying to see those two bastard kids from the neighborhood get scared shitless from the mask. But the thought of Carly Beth or this demon sneaking around terrifying people is just a weird thing. And I would say that probably the weirdest part of it all is how she carries around that bust of her face. Because it's like a part of her soul was taken, and now she's this new form. It's a really weird concept coupled with great special effects coupled with a very, very interesting premise. And the Haunted Mask is fantastic. It's a Halloween classic, and I'd implore you to check it out because it's available everywhere and people talk about it everywhere. But yeah, it's a Halloween classic, and when those little bastards they're picking on her get down on their knees and beg for their life, it's just a strange scene. It is really, really, really a strange TV show episode, and you can't help but feel like something about this is just evil. That there was some, you talk about like The Exorcists, and like was that The Omen, all these haunted sort of demonic feeling pieces of media, and you just cannot get over the overwhelming feeling that there's something evil, something sinister trapped in this episode, just like Carly Beth, just begging to get out. And I have to hand it to the showrun, to the people who made the show, is that this episode is truly a masterpiece, just because it just has so many scenes that are so odd and so like it's just fucking kind of creepy. You'll be thinking about it for days after too. The whole Haunted Mask episode is just stellar. So there you have it, the Haunted Mask, stellar Halloween selection. It is deeply disturbing. There's something about it that feels very unique and very off-putting. Um, yeah, Haunted Mask, stellar watch, stellar for spooky time watching. And I just want to take a minute to point out just how fucking amazing the Goosebumps books were. You had those cover art, and it was so awesome looking. You just couldn't wait to get it at the book fair. I just loved the Goosebumps stuff. Very cool and spooky indeed.